Victoria Chen's office was the only one still lit on the 42nd floor. Christmas Eve, 9 p.m., and everyone else had left hours ago, racing home to families, to celebrations, to traditions that Victoria had long ago decided were distractions from what actually mattered. She stared at the spreadsheet on her screen, the numbers blurring together. 15 years since she'd celebrated Christmas. 15 years since she'd allowed herself to acknowledge the holiday at all. It was easier that way, to work through it, to treat it like any other day, to pretend the ache in her chest was just indigestion from too much coffee. Her phone buzzed. Her assistant from 3 hours ago. "The cleaning crew can't come tonight. Family emergency. They'll be there first thing tomorrow. Sorry for the inconvenience." Victoria barely registered it. The office could wait. She had reports to review, projections to analyze, a company to run. Chen Technologies didn't become a $7.2 billion empire by taking holidays off. A soft knock on her door made her look up, irritated. Everyone should be gone by now. A little girl stood in the doorway, maybe 8 years old, wearing a red winter coat that was slightly too big for her, holding something wrapped in tissue paper. Behind her, a man in a yellow maintenance uniform appeared, slightly out of breath. "Mia, I told you to stay in the break room while I—" He stopped when he saw Victoria. "I'm so sorry, Miss Chen. I'm the emergency replacement for the cleaning crew. This is my daughter. I couldn't get a sitter on Christmas Eve, so I had to bring her. I told her to stay put, but—" Before we continue, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. We love knowing how far these stories of hope and resilience travel. Your comments inspire us to keep bringing you powerful narratives every week. "It's Christmas Eve," the little girl said, looking directly at Victoria with unsettling confidence. "Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve. That's what my dad always says." I felt something twist in my chest. This child, this stranger's daughter, had somehow seen through 15 years of carefully constructed armor with a single handmade ornament and 7 devastating words. "I'm not alone. I'm working." "That's alone," she said simply. She held out the tissue-wrapped object. "I made this for you." "Mia, you can't just—" the father started, but Victoria found herself standing, walking over, taking the small package because refusing it felt impossibly cruel. She unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a small ornament, clearly handmade, clay painted gold, with words written in a child's careful script. "You are not forgotten." She stared at it, her throat tightening in a way she hadn't felt in 15 years. Not since the Christmas her adoptive parents had simply forgotten to include her in the family photo. Not since she'd realized that even the people who chose her hadn't really wanted her. Not since she'd decided that Christmas, with all its emphasis on family and belonging, was nothing but a reminder of everything she'd never had. "Why did you make this?" Victoria heard herself ask, her voice strange. "Because everybody needs to know they're not forgotten. Especially at Christmas. That's when it hurts the most, right? Being forgotten." Victoria's vision blurred. This child, this stranger's daughter, had somehow seen straight through 15 years of carefully constructed armor with a single handmade ornament and 7 devastating words. "Thank you," Victoria whispered. This is very kind." "You're welcome," Mia said, smiling. Then, with the brutal honesty of children, "You look really sad. Are you sad because you're working on Christmas Eve instead of being with your family?" The father, she needed to learn his name, looked mortified. "Mia, that's not appropriate to ask." "It's okay," Victoria said, surprising herself. She looked at this little girl who'd given her a gift she didn't know she needed. "Yes, I'm sad, but I'm used to it." "That's not good," Mia declared. "Nobody should be used to being sad, right, Dad?" Before we continue, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. We love knowing how far these stories of hope and resilience travel. Your comments inspire us to keep bringing you powerful narratives every week.
The man, Andrew Rivera, he finally introduced himself, was clearly uncomfortable about the situation, but professional. He set Mia up in the conference room with her tablet and coloring books while he started his cleaning route. But Mia kept appearing, drawn to Victoria like a magnet, asking questions that cut too close to wounds Victoria had thought were sealed. Victoria should have sent them away, should have called another service, should have retreated to her office and closed the door. Instead, she found herself in the conference room, watching Mia color while Andrew vacuumed nearby. "Why don't you go home for Christmas?" Mia asked, not looking up from her drawing of what appeared to be a very enthusiastic reindeer. "I don't have anywhere to go," Victoria said before she could stop herself. Mia looked up then, her small face serious. "What about your family?" There it was, the question Victoria had spent years avoiding, at company parties, at board meetings, in every social situation where people assumed everyone had somewhere to go for the holidays. "I don't really have family," Victoria said carefully. "Not the way you do." "Everyone has family," Mia insisted, "even if it's not the born kind. My dad says family is whoever stays." Andrew appeared in the doorway, carrying cleaning supplies. "Mia, Miss Chen is trying to work. Stop bothering her with questions." "She's not bothering me," Victoria said, and meant it. When was the last time someone had asked her real questions, instead of just nodding along to whatever she said because she signed their paychecks? Andrew set down his supplies, looked at Victoria with something like understanding. "I apologize for my daughter. She has this thing where she tries to fix people. It's persistent." "I don't need fixing," Victoria said, but the words sounded hollow even to her. "That's what everyone says before Mia gets to them," Andrew said with a tired smile. "Fair warning, she doesn't give up easily. Last year she convinced our entire apartment building to have Christmas dinner together because she decided nobody should eat alone. 37 people showed up. It was chaos." "Beautiful chaos," Mia corrected. "Mr. Peterson said it was the best Christmas he had since his wife died, and Mrs. Kim said she hadn't laughed that much in years. And you said—" "I said it was exhausting and wonderful. Which is what you are, Bug, exhausting and wonderful." Victoria watched this exchange, the easy intimacy, the obvious love, the kind of relationship she'd built an empire trying not to think about. "How old were you when your mother died?" she heard herself ask Mia, recognizing grief in the child's earlier comment about Mr. Peterson. Mia's face clouded slightly. "She didn't die. She left when I was 4. Dad says she wasn't ready to be a mom. I don't remember her much." "I'm sorry," Victoria said. "That must be hard." "It was," Mia said with the matter-of-fact honesty of children. "But Dad stayed. That's what matters. He always stays." Andrew cleared his throat, emotion flickering across his face. "Mia, why don't you work on your coloring while I finish the executive floor? Miss Chen needs to get back to work." "Actually," Victoria said, surprising all 3 of them, "I'm done for the night. The numbers aren't making sense anymore. Too many hours staring at screens." She looked at Mia. "Would you tell me about this drawing? I don't think I've ever seen a purple reindeer before." Mia's face lit up. "His name is Sparkle, and he's purple because normal is boring. Dad says being different is what makes us special. Want to see my whole collection? I've been drawing Christmas animals all month." Victoria should have said no. Should have sent them on their way, gone home to her empty penthouse, maintained the boundaries she'd spent 15 years perfecting. Instead, she said yes. Mia spread out her drawings across the conference table, a menagerie of fantastical Christmas creatures, each more colorful and imaginative than the last. A blue penguin wearing a Santa hat, a rainbow-colored polar bear, a fox with wings made of snowflakes. "This one is my favorite," Mia said, pointing to a drawing of what appeared to be a lonely-looking snow leopard sitting under a Christmas tree. "Her name is Luna. She doesn't have a family, so she makes friends with all the other animals. Dad says sometimes your found family is better than your born family." Victoria stared at the snow leopard, at the careful way Mia had drawn her. Elegant but separate, beautiful but alone. Why doesn't she have a family? "She got lost when she was little, wandered too far from home and couldn't find her way back. But then she realized home isn't a place, it's a feeling. So she made a new home with people who chose to love her." The words hit Victoria like a physical blow. She'd been that lost leopard once, Adopted at 7 by people who'd wanted a daughter, but hadn't known what to do with the scared, quiet child who'd already learned that love was something you earned, not something freely given. Andrew was watching her now, and Victoria realized tears were streaming down her face. She wiped them quickly, embarrassed. "Sorry, this doesn't usually happen." "When's the last time you cried?" Andrew asked gently. Victoria thought about it, really thought about it. 15 years. Christmas Eve. I was 26. My adoptive parents forgot to invite me to their Christmas. They sent a card apologizing, said they'd assumed I was too busy with work. I realized then that even the people who chose me didn't really want me there. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. The pain she'd buried, the hurt she'd transmuted into ambition, the loneliness she'd convinced herself was strength. So I stopped celebrating, stopped acknowledging the holiday at all, worked through it every year, built the company instead of a life, told myself I was too important, too busy, too successful to need something as sentimental as Christmas. "But you're not," Mia said softly. "Nobody's too important to need love. That's not how people work." I laughed, a broken sound. "When did you get so wise?" "Dad teaches me," Mia said simply. "He says the most important thing isn't how much money you make or how famous you are. It's whether you make people feel loved." "Did your parents make you feel loved?" "No. They made me feel tolerated, like I was a project they'd taken on and then didn't know what to do with. They were kind. They provided for me, but they never made me feel like I belonged." Andrew sat down across from her, his expression gentle. "I can't imagine how much that hurts. To be chosen but not quite wanted. To have a family but never feel like you're really part of it. It's like being invisible in plain sight. They'd talk about family memories I wasn't part of, traditions that started before I arrived. I was always the addendum to their story, never the main character. And after a while, I stopped trying to be part of it. I built my own story instead. A lonely story, Luna's story, before she found her friends. Yes, I admitted, a very lonely story." Mia pushed the drawing of Luna across the table. "You should keep this, to remember that even lone leopards can find their pack." Victoria took the drawing, something cracking open in her chest. "Thank you, Mia. This means more than you know." "I know it means a lot," Mia said confidently. "That's why I gave it to you. Sometimes people need to be reminded they're not alone, even when they feel like they are." Andrew caught Victoria's eye, and she saw understanding there, the recognition of one lonely person to another. "Mia does this," he said softly. "Finds the people who need reminding. It's like she has radar for broken hearts. Is your heart broken too? Wasn't always, but when Mia's mom left, it shattered. Single parenting is..." He paused, searching for words. "It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Being everything for someone, knowing you're not enough, trying anyway." "You're enough," Mia said fiercely. "You're the best dad in the whole world." "See?" Andrew smiled, but Victoria saw the exhaustion underneath. Exhausting and wonderful.
Andrew worked while Mia and Victoria talked, moving efficiently through the office floor. But he kept coming back, drawn into the conversation, and Victoria realized she didn't want him to leave, didn't want either of them to leave. The office, so sterile and cold an hour ago, felt warm with them in it. "Why are you working on Christmas Eve?" Mia asked, starting a new drawing. "Don't you have a house to decorate?" "I have a penthouse," Victoria said, "but no decorations. I don't do Christmas, remember?" "That's sad," Mia declared. "Everyone should have decorations. They make everything prettier. And Christmas trees smell really good. Our tree is tiny because our apartment is small, but Dad got the best-smelling one in the lot." Victoria thought about her penthouse. Sleek, modern, expensive, and completely devoid of anything personal. I wouldn't know how to decorate anyway. I never learned. I could teach you, Mia said excitedly. It's easy. You just put things that make you happy everywhere. And lights. Lots of lights. I don't think I have things that make me happy, Victoria said quietly. I have things that make me money. It's different. Andrew paused in his cleaning, looked at her with something like concern. That sounds exhausting. Running on empty all the time. It is, Victoria admitted. But it's familiar. And at least when you're working, you don't have to think about what's missing. Except it's still missing, Andrew said gently. You're just too busy to notice you're starving. The words hit too close to home. Victoria looked at him, this man in a maintenance uniform, working on Christmas Eve to provide for his daughter, who somehow saw her more clearly than people who'd known her for years. How do you do it? Stay so open? After being left, after single parenting, after everything that must be hard about your life, how do you not shut down? Andrew set down his cleaning supplies, really looked at her. Because shutting down would mean Mia grows up thinking that's normal, that closing yourself off is strength. And I want her to know that staying open, even when it hurts, is the bravest thing you can do. That vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. I don't know how to be vulnerable, Victoria confessed. I've spent so long being the CEO, the boss, the person who has all the answers. I don't know how to be the person who admits she's drowning. You're doing it right now. Admitting it. That's the first step. But what's the second step? Victoria asked. How do you go from admitting you're alone to actually connecting with people? I don't even know where to start. Mia looked up from her drawing. You start with one person. That's what Dad always says. You can't fix everything at once, but you can start with one friend. Want to be friends? I'm good at being friends.
Victoria felt her eyes fill again. This child, offering friendship so simply, like it was easy. Like Victoria was worth befriending despite being a mess. Yes, she whispered. I'd like that very much. Good, Mia said, satisfied. Friends help each other. So we're going to help you learn how to do Christmas. Right, Dad? Andrew opened his mouth, probably to say that wasn't appropriate, that Victoria was his employer, that they should maintain boundaries. But Victoria caught his eye, and something passed between them. A shared understanding of what it meant to be lonely, to be trying, to need help even when asking for it felt impossible. Right, Andrew said instead. We'll help. They finished the cleaning together, Victoria insisting on helping despite Andrew's protests, learning the simple rhythm of straightening chairs, wiping surfaces, finding meditative peace in tasks that didn't require strategic thinking. Mia supervised, occasionally pointing out spots they'd missed, telling stories about her school and friends, and the elaborate Christmas pageant where she'd been a singing snowflake. When they were done, it was past midnight. Technically Christmas Day. Andrew gathered their things, preparing to leave, and Victoria felt panic rising. Once they left, she'd be alone again, back to the empty penthouse, the silent rooms, the weight of 15 years of avoiding this exact feeling. Wait, Victoria said. I know this is inappropriate. I know I'm your employer and this crosses boundaries, but... She took a breath. Would you have Christmas breakfast with me, tomorrow? Today, I mean. It's already Christmas. I don't want to be alone, and I don't think I can face this day by myself again. Andrew looked surprised, then understanding. Miss Chen? Victoria, she interrupted. Please, just Victoria. Victoria, Andrew tried the name, smiled slightly. We'd be honored. But I should warn you, Mia's idea of breakfast is pancakes shaped like snowmen, and she insists on Christmas music,
And it's going to be loud and chaotic, and nothing like what you're probably used to. Good, Victoria said. I'm tired of what I'm used to. I want loud and chaotic. I want to learn what I've been missing. Mia hugged Victoria's legs, sudden and fierce. This is going to be the best Christmas. We're going to teach you everything. Tree decorating, and cookie baking, and singing, and all the fun stuff. Victoria awkwardly patted the girl's head, unused to physical affection, but not hating it. I'm going to be terrible at all of that. That's okay, Mia said. You're allowed to be bad at things. That's how you learn. They exchanged phone numbers, made plans for breakfast. As Andrew and Mia left, Mia turned back at the door. Victoria, thank you for saying yes. I think you needed us as much as we needed you. What do you need me for? Victoria asked, confused.
Everyone needs people, Mia said simply. Even us. Dad pretends he's okay, but he gets lonely too. He just hides it better because he's a grown-up. But I can tell. Andrew's face colored slightly. Mia, it's true, Mia insisted. You haven't had a friend in forever because you're always working and taking care of me. Now you have Victoria. It's perfect. After they left, Victoria stood in her empty office, holding the handmade ornament and the drawing of Luna, the snow leopard. 2 gifts from a child who'd seen through all her armor in less than 3 hours. 2 gifts that meant more than anything money had ever bought. She looked out at the city lights, at the few illuminated windows where other people were probably celebrating, probably surrounded by family. And for the first time in 15 years, Victoria Chen let herself cry for everything she'd lost, everything she'd given up, and everything she might still be able to find. Victoria stood outside Andrew's apartment building at 9 a.m. Christmas morning, holding an absurdly expensive bag of breakfast pastries from the only bakery she knew that was open on Christmas, and wondering what she was doing. She was Victoria Chen, Billionaire CEO. She didn't do casual breakfast with the cleaning crew. Except Andrew wasn't just the cleaning crew. He was someone who'd seen her fall apart and hadn't judged. And Mia wasn't just his daughter. She was someone who'd looked at Victoria and seen worth befriending. Andrew answered the door in a yellow sweater, flour on his hands, looking domestic and comfortable in a way Victoria had never been. You came? You sound surprised. I thought you might change your mind, realize this was too weird. He stepped back, let her in. The apartment was small, maybe a tenth the size of Victoria's penthouse, but it was alive in a way her space never was. Decorations everywhere, a tiny tree in the corner covered in handmade ornaments, photos on walls, evidence of life actually being lived. Victoria, Mia appeared, wearing a red dress and reindeer antlers. We're here. We're making snowman pancakes. Do you want antlers too? I don't think I can pull off antlers, Victoria said, but she was smiling. Everyone can pull off antlers, Mia insisted, grabbing a second pair and depositing them on Victoria's head. See? Perfect. Now you're festive. They made pancakes together, or rather Andrew made them while Mia supervised and Victoria watched. Awkward and unsure, but trying. The apartment smelled like cinnamon and coffee and something warm Victoria couldn't name. Happiness, maybe. The scent of a home. I don't know how to do this, Andrew admitted as Andrew handed her a spatula. I've never made pancakes. My adoptive parents had a cook, and as an adult I just don't eat breakfast. Why not? Mia asked, genuinely curious. Too busy. Usually just grab coffee on the way to the office.
That's not breakfast, Mia declared. That's just brown water. You need actual food. Dad says breakfast is the most important meal because it tells your body the day is worth starting right. Victoria looked at Andrew. Do you always teach life philosophy through meals? Only when Mia's around, Andrew said, grinning. She has a way of turning everything into a teaching moment. Last week she convinced her entire class that sharing lunch was an act of revolution. It is, Mia protested. Mrs. Anderson said so. She said small acts of kindness can change the world. They ate at the small kitchen table, barely big enough for 3. The pancakes were misshapen, the antlers kept sliding off Victoria's head, and Mia talked nonstop about everything and nothing. It was chaotic and perfect, and everything Victoria hadn't known she'd been missing.
"This is nice," Victoria said quietly, watching Andrew pour more coffee, watching Mia draw on her napkin with markers. "I didn't know it could be this nice. Just being with people." "That's because you've been alone too long. Everyone needs people. It's not weakness, it's human." "I'm not good at human," Victoria admitted. "I'm good at CEO, good at strategy and profit margins and board meetings, but sitting at a table, eating pancakes, being present, I don't know how to do this without an agenda. The agenda is just to be here, to enjoy the moment. Nothing complicated." But it felt complicated to Victoria, letting herself relax, letting herself feel, letting these people in when she'd spent so long keeping everyone out. It felt dangerous, like she was giving them the power to hurt her. "You're thinking too much," Mia observed. "I can see it in your face. You get all tight here." She pointed to the space between Victoria's eyebrows. "Dad does that too when he's worried about money. Stop worrying. It's Christmas." "I don't know how to stop," Victoria confessed. "Practice," Mia said. "That's what you do with hard things. You practice until they get easier. Right, Dad?" "Right," Andrew agreed. "Everything gets easier with practice, even joy." After breakfast, Mia insisted on teaching Victoria how to decorate. They spent 2 hours on the floor surrounded by construction paper and glue and glitter, making ornaments. Victoria's were objectively terrible, misshapen and clumsy, but Mia praised each one like it was a masterpiece. "This one's beautiful," Mia said, holding up Victoria's lopsided star. "It's unique, just like you." "It's a mess," Victoria said, but she was smiling. "All the best things are messy. Perfect is boring." They hung Victoria's creations on the tree, and she felt something settle in her chest. Pride, maybe, or belonging. The sense that she'd made something with her own hands, something that would exist beyond profit margins and quarterly reports. "Thank you," Victoria said, as they stood back to admire their work. "For this, for including me, for not thinking I'm crazy for showing up here." "You're not crazy. You're just lonely. There's a difference." "I'm starting to see that. Lonely isn't permanent. It's just the state you're in before you find your people." "Exactly," Mia said, hugging Victoria's side. "And now you've found us, so you're not lonely anymore. You're family." The word hit Victoria like a blow. Family. This child was calling her family after one night, offering belonging like it was simple, like Victoria deserved it without earning it. "I don't know how to be family," Victoria whispered. "I never learned." "We'll teach you," Mia promised. "That's what families do. They teach each other."
That afternoon, Andrew had to leave for a few hours, a second job he couldn't miss even on Christmas, apologizing profusely. Mia stayed with Victoria, and they talked about everything. About Mia's mother leaving, about Victoria's parents' emotional distance, about what it meant to feel unwanted by the people who were supposed to love you. "Do you think there's something wrong with us?" Mia asked, serious for once. "Like, maybe we're too much. That's why people leave?" Victoria's heart broke. "Oh, Mia. No, there's nothing wrong with you. Your mother leaving had nothing to do with you not being enough. Some people just aren't ready for what love requires." "What about your parents?" Mia asked. "Why couldn't they love you right?" Victoria thought about this. Really thought about it. "I don't think they knew how. They were older when they adopted me, set in their ways. They wanted a daughter in theory, but didn't know what to do with the reality of a scared 7-year-old who needed more than they knew how to give. It wasn't about me being unlovable. It was about them not having the capacity." "But it still hurt," Mia said. "But it still hurt," Victoria agreed. "And I spent 15 years thinking that hurt meant I should stop trying, that being alone was safer than risking that kind of pain again." "Is it? Safer?" "No," Victoria said honestly. "It's just a different kind of pain. Loneliness hurts too. It's just slower, quieter. You don't notice until one day you realize you've built a whole life and there's nobody in it who actually knows you." Mia climbed into Victoria's lap, unprompted, just curled up there like it was the most natural thing in the world. Victoria froze, unused to physical affection, then slowly wrapped her arms around the child. "I know you now," Mia said, "and I like you. You're sad, but you're kind. And you're trying to be brave. That matters." Victoria felt tears sliding down her face. Thank you for seeing me, for making me that ornament, for reminding me I'm not forgotten. You're welcome, Mia said. That's what friends do. They remember each other. They stayed like that for a long time, Victoria holding this child who'd somehow become important to her in less than 24 hours. And she realized this was the real gift, not the ornaments, not the drawing, but this, connection, being seen, belonging to someone, even briefly. When Andrew came home that evening, exhausted from his shift, he found them asleep on the couch, Mia curled against Victoria, both of them peaceful. He didn't wake them immediately, just stood there watching, feeling something he hadn't let himself feel in years.
Victoria woke to find a blanket over her, Mia still sleeping against her side, and Andrew in the kitchen making dinner. She carefully extracted herself, joined him. "Thank you for letting me stay," she said quietly. "I should probably go. I've imposed enough." "You haven't imposed," Andrew said. "You've been good for her. For both of us, actually. It's been a long time since Christmas felt this full." "Full?" Victoria repeated. "That's a good word for it. I feel full, too. For the first time in 15 years. Andrew turned to face her. "Can I ask you something? And please don't take this the wrong way." "Okay. What are you going to do after today? Are you going back to working every Christmas, ignoring the holiday, being alone? Or are you going to let yourself have this connection, people who care about you?" Victoria leaned against the counter, considering. "I don't know. This feels good, but it also feels terrifying. What if I let myself need you and Mia and then something happens? What if Mia gets older and doesn't want me around? What if you meet someone and I'm in the way? What if I'm just setting myself up for more hurt?" "What if you're not?" Andrew countered. "What if this is the beginning of something good? What if letting people in is exactly what you need?" "I'm not good at people," Victoria said. "I'm good at business, at strategy, at keeping distance." "Then learn," Andrew said, echoing Mia's earlier advice. "Learn to be good at people. Start small. Start with us. Let yourself have friends. Let yourself have a place to come for Christmas. Let yourself be part of something." "Why do you care?" Victoria asked. "Why does it matter to you whether I'm alone or not?" Andrew was quiet for a moment. "Because I see myself in you. The instinct to protect yourself by staying separate. The belief that if you don't need anyone, they can't hurt you. I did that for the first year after Mia's mom left. Kept everyone at arm's length, focused only on survival. And then one day, Mia asked me why we didn't have any friends. And I realized I was teaching her that isolation was safety, that shutting down was strength." He looked at Victoria. "I don't want that for her. And I don't want that for you either. You deserve more than an empty penthouse and spreadsheets on Christmas." "I don't know how to do more," Victoria whispered. "Start with tomorrow. Come over tomorrow, or the day after, or next week. Build a pattern. Let yourself have something to look forward to. Let yourself need us a little bit, and we'll need you back. That's how relationships work. Mutual need, mutual care." "What if I mess it up?" Victoria asked. "Then we'll figure it out together. That's what people do. They mess up and forgive and try again. It's not perfect. It's just human." Victoria looked at him, this man who'd lost his partner, who worked 2 jobs to support his daughter, who somehow still had the capacity to care about a billionaire CEO with more money than emotional intelligence. "Okay, I'll try. I'll come back. I'll let myself need you. But I'm warning you, I'm going to be terrible at this." "Good," Andrew said, smiling. "Perfect is boring anyway. Mia taught me that."
Victoria stood in her penthouse, now decorated for Christmas. Not professionally decorated, she'd done it herself, with help from Mia over the past few weeks. Handmade ornaments, strings of lights, a tree that was slightly crooked but perfect anyway. On the mantel sat Mia's original gift, the clay ornament that said, "You are not forgotten." Next to it, a photo from this year's Christmas dinner at Andrew's apartment, Victoria included, wearing antlers, laughing at something Mia said. Her phone rang. "Andrew, hey, you still coming over? Mia's about to lose her mind waiting for you." "On my way," Victoria said. "I'm bringing dessert. I made it myself. Fair warning, it might be terrible." "All the best things are," Andrew said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Victoria grabbed her coat, the dessert, and headed out. As she drove through the city, past other decorated homes, she thought about last Christmas. About being alone in her office, convinced she was too broken to belong anywhere. About a little girl who'd given her an ornament and reminded her she deserved to be remembered. She thought about the year that had followed. Weekly dinners with Andrew and Mia, learning to cook, to relax, to be present. Gradually building friendships at work instead of just professional relationships. Reaching out to her adoptive parents, having a long overdue conversation about their failure to see her. Not fixing everything, but starting to heal. She'd stepped back from some of her CEO responsibilities, hired people she trusted, learned to delegate. The company hadn't collapsed. In fact, it had thrived. Turned out giving herself space to be human made her better at her job, not worse. And she'd let herself need Andrew and Mia. Let herself be part of their small family. Let herself be the one who showed up for school plays and birthday parties and ordinary Tuesdays. Let herself be loved not for what she achieved, but for who she was, messy, learning, trying. When she arrived at Andrew's apartment, Mia threw the door open. "Victoria, you're here! Come in, come in! We made hot chocolate, and Dad let me put extra marshmallows." Inside, the apartment was warm and chaotic and full. Neighbors had joined them this year, creating the kind of found family Christmas that Mia had envisioned. People who'd been alone now gathered together, sharing food and stories and laughter. Andrew pulled Victoria aside for a moment. "How are you doing? First big Christmas celebration in 15 years. That's a lot." "I'm good," Victoria said, surprised to realize it was true. "Really good. A little overwhelmed, but good." "The ornament helped?" Andrew asked, gesturing to the handmade clay decoration hanging on their tree, a new one Mia had made this year that said, "You are home." "The ornament helped," Victoria agreed, "but it was more than that. It was Mia seeing me, you seeing me, both of you deciding I was worth including even when I didn't know how to belong." "You always knew," Andrew said gently. "You just forgot for a while. We just reminded you." Mia appeared, tugging on Victoria's hand. "Come on, we're about to start Christmas karaoke. You promised you'd sing this year." "I'm a terrible singer," Victoria warned. "Perfect," Mia said, grinning. "All the best things are terrible. That's what makes them fun." Victoria let herself be pulled into the celebration, let herself be surrounded by noise and chaos and people who chose to include her. She thought about the woman she'd been last Christmas, alone by choice, protected by distance, convinced she was too broken to belong anywhere. She'd been so wrong. This was strength, letting yourself be vulnerable, letting yourself need people, letting yourself belong even when it was scary. This was courage, showing up imperfect, trying anyway, building connections that mattered more than any profit margin. As they sang off-key Christmas carols, as Mia laughed and Andrew caught Victoria's eye across the room and smiled, as neighbors who'd been strangers became friends, Victoria understood what Mia had meant a year ago. The real gift wasn't the ornament. The real gift was the reminder that she was worth remembering, worth including, worth loving. The real gift was learning that being forgotten wasn't permanent, it was just the state before being found. And Victoria Chen, billionaire CEO who ignored Christmas for 15 years, had finally been found. She was home.
If this story touched your heart, you've just experienced the power of Becca's stories. We create moving narratives about lonely people finding their families, about children who heal broken adults, about the courage it takes to let yourself be loved. Subscribe to Becca's Stories and join our community that believes in the magic of found families, the power of chosen belonging, and the truth that it's never too late to learn how to be loved.
Every week, we bring you stories of single parents who change lives through simple kindness, of children who see what adults miss, of transformation that begins with one brave choice to say yes. Share this story with someone who's spending the holidays alone, who needs a reminder that being forgotten isn't permanent, that found families are just as real as born ones. Comment below and tell us about a time when a stranger became family, when a small gift changed everything, when you learned you were worth remembering. Because here at Becca's Stories, we believe that everyone deserves to be included, that loneliness is just the pause before belonging, and that sometimes the people who save us are the ones we least expect. Until next time, remember, you are not forgotten. You are not alone, and somewhere there's a family waiting to choose you.